right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. Bob Pompeani here with you till 11 o'clock tonight. You know the drill. Call us at 412-575-2600. That puts you in touch with us here at the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on a very busy day in sports. We have a lot to get into. The breaking news would be the New York Mets reportedly, according to both Jeff Passan and John Heyman, who are baseball version of Adam Schefter. I mean, this number keeps getting higher and higher, and apparently it's going to end up at $765 million for Juan Soto. Now, he's a very talented guy, no doubt. 15 years, $765 million. None of it deferred like Shohei Ohtani. It's actually more money than Shohei Ohtani will get. And you wonder about how much is too much when it gets to these kinds of players. Now, he's a very good player, don't get me wrong. But Ohtani was one of those guys who can do both things. He can pitch and become a Cy Young level pitcher and also hit the way he hit this year. Soto is a position player, plays the outfield. That's a lot of money. But the Mets have made a commitment. It also underscores just how screwed up baseball is economically. The fact that one team can do it, you knew the normal people involved, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, pretty much. That's it. No one else can go anywhere else, and if you do, you get bargain basement people. But the league is okay with all of this. And it's just not a good, fair economic league. And when you don't have that, you don't have competitive balance, in my view. Make all the exceptions you want on certain teams that get hot at the right time, and all of a sudden 1 year it all comes together. But generally speaking, you know what teams are going to be involved at the end of the year. Anyway, that's $51 million a year for Juan Soto. All of it guaranteed. That's like making $1 million a week for the next 15 years. That's what he got today, or at least he's going to sign it, according to these reports. So the baseball winter meetings are underway. We'll get more into that a little bit. What do you expect the Pirates to do? So far nothing, and I don't expect all that much, but they have an opportunity with these young pitchers to do something. This will be one of our topics tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. 11:35 tonight. Mark Caboli, Jeff Hathorn, Jason Mackey will join me. In the meantime, big news around here today. First, Dave Parker. I want to just start with that, give him a shout out because the man deserves what he got today, finally. And he'll get a little bit of chance to enjoy it. He's been dealing with Parkinson's disease. He was in town this past season on Bobblehead Day for Dave Parker. And it's just good to see that he's finally going to see this come to fruition. He was outstanding, 19-year Major League career. He's going to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He and Dick Allen, the only two this year in the class. Dick Allen would be posthumously. But Parker had a rocket gun, as you see, right field. Five-tool player, back-to-back National League batting champions, MVP, had it all. And certainly it took a lot longer than I thought it would, but he gets in there. So congrats to him. In the meantime, we're talking about the Steelers and their win, and it was a big one for them. Not exactly a masterpiece. It took a long time for the offense to get going, and it took the defense. I want to hear from you on this, what it means heading into the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs in succession. We'll talk to you. Come on up. Give us your phone calls at 412-575-2600. You can hit me up on Twitter at KDPomp. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from the Baseball Hall of Fame, and there it is, Dave Parker, class of 2025. He should be celebrating this all the way up until late July when they enshrine him in Cooperstown, New York. By the way, just a couple of notes about the Juan Soto contract. Again, his is $765, could reach $800 million over 15 years. It's $51 million a year every week for the rest of his 15 years. That number is bigger than the entire valuation of the Buffalo Sabres franchise. That's what that whole franchise is worth, $750 million. Soto's getting more at $765. And Andrew Filipponi, our friend over at 93.7 The Fan, came up with this number. The Pirates' payroll over the last decade does not equal $765 million. It's at $726. Baseball is out of its mind, but hey, we continue to play the game. 412-575-2600. A lot of calls, so let's get right to them, beginning with Jimmy McKeesport. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I hope the Steelers win this season. I really like the Steelers. I watch them every year, and I really hope they win.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to John in Punxsutawney. Hey, John, how are you?
Very good, Bob.
Good.
I wanted to discuss the worst call in my 73 years of listening to Penn State football last night when Penn State got a touchdown to be losing 38-30, and Franklin went for 2. I'll never understand that one.
Yeah, they have all these analytics guys and all these things, but some of it's just basic math when you do that kind of stuff. 2 points to me should be, unless you're going to do it all the time, your kicker's not trustworthy enough, but it's a small extra point in college football. Yeah, there were a lot of things in that game. At least I thought they were competitive. They scored a lot of points. They gave up a lot of points. I would expect that. SMU, when they play them in 2 weeks, similar kind of team like Oregon. They like to mix it up and move. They're 9-point underdogs, are SMU Mustangs. So Penn State is expected to win that game. It's not a battle against top 5 teams where Franklin is 1-14, but it is a playoff and it is a big game. So I think the pressure on him and them is to win that game. Let's go on to Mike in Newcastle. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Bob, how you doing tonight?
All right. What's up, Mike?
Not too much. I guess the Pirates just got outbid for Juan Soto. Tough. I thought we were in on him.
Let me tell you something. What I think, and this is not BS to you. Just hang on the line for me, okay? The Pirates can make that deal if they wanted to. Add $51 million to their current payroll, you'll end up in $135 million range, right? For the whole year.
Exactly.
For their team adding Juan Soto, if they want to, they could play the game, but they're not going to play that game. And I understand there are a lot of disparities. Those markets in New York and LA have huge local revenues that the Pirates don't have. I get all of that. But there's enough revenue involved in baseball where you can, and in their case, because they spend so little on payroll, they can up it by $51 million a year and still be okay, I think.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And I would be just happy with Christian Walker because I think that's the type of player they need. But I feel like I'm asking for way too much, and I know I'm going to get disappointed. But my call was to shout out to Dave Parker and Dick Allen for making the Hall of Fame. I call it the Chuck Tanner Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, that was great. Chuck was great with those teams. The player had the right attitude for that team at the right time. And, yeah, it just took too long. I wish guys had chances to, like Dick Allen won't have a chance to celebrate that. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame earlier than what he was. JD in the North Hills is our next caller right here on KDKA+. Hi, JD.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, I agree. Dave Parker, it's about time he goes in the Hall of Fame. But the reason why I'm calling is, if you're a Pitt fan right now, would you not accept this bowl and the way they've played down the stretch? This is absolutely an embarrassment for Pitt fans everywhere.
Well, especially when, you could have, we've already seen guys who've gone into the transfer portal. Your team's not going to look the same. You may end up playing with a bunch of guys, or you have an opportunity to see some guys who are going to play for you next year. So I think they'll look at it as a positive opportunity to get in. There's some money involved, of course. But largely in college bowl season, I wonder how many players are not going to play in their bowl games. Those in the college football 12-team playoff, I would expect them to play. There's a lot of right. Some may not, though. Some may look at an NFL career and say, I don't want to get hurt. But what about those non-playoff bowl games? What are those going to be like? How many players will play? How many won't? If you're Eli Holstein of Pitt, by the way, would you play in that game if you were healthy to go? I'm just curious because he's making about $300,000+ this year from what I can tell. Maybe there's going to be more money out there for him. If he gets injured, it won't be available if he has aspirations of moving. I don't know if he does or doesn't. But these are all questions that come about because of this crazy system they've implemented without guardrails. So nobody knows what's heading up next. No one knows how much money's being spent. It's crazy, but they're in it, and they have to deal with it. Let's go to Bill in Swissvale. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I've watched this replay of this pass from Winston. It looks like he was over the line.
Close. We looked at it too, but it's too close, and I don't think they were going to call it. Still, it's not a good defensive play down the middle of the field. Minka Fitzpatrick is roaming in that area, so are others, but that's generally his call, and when it gets to the middle of the field. You haven't seen many touchdowns there this year for his presence, but in this game, statistically, there wasn't a lot there, but they're putting him in a position to kind of deter other teams from throwing in the middle of the field. But on that play, it broke down. I think Jameis Winston did a very good job in that he got away from the pressure, kept his eyes downfield, and made a good throw to Jerry Jeudy. Let's go out to Greg in Pittsburgh. Hello, Greg. How are you?
How you doing this evening, Bob?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. the team that was out on the field today for the Steelers, if you put them in the playoffs, they're not going to go that far. And our field goal kicker should be the first MVP of the league, the best kicker that ever came on the field, man.
He's been automatic, but he's also, I mean, those distinctions don't go to kickers. Special teams players, unless you're, one of those guys who returns it a lot and gets big touchdowns, you're not going to get that distinction. He is so valuable, though, in games like playoff games where, you're going to have tightly played games. His leg could be a massive, add compared to what you see from some of these other teams. What's that again, Jeremiah? Well, that was way back when. You're not going to see that again. I'm talking to my producer, Jeremiah, who told me no kicker has one, but not in this day and age. It just won't happen. Mark Mosley of Washington, I think in 1983, am I right? All right, 82, okay. I was off a year. Let's go to Nancy in Tarentum. Hey, Nancy, how are you?
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, my question or comment is, I think Russell did a really good job today, knowing that Pickens wasn't in there, and he came through and was real positive with himself. I was real proud of him.
Yeah, I think, what you saw today was the stability of a Russell Wilson, the poise of a Russell Wilson. When things weren't going all that well, he was not panicked. He handled all that. But to be honest, they got to do a better job against better defenses. What they've seen over the past several weeks, especially with Cincinnati and Cleveland, are not the kind of tests they're going to see in the next 3 weeks. We're going to see some very interesting games, and it's going to take a lot more than what they've given in terms of waiting for 5 possessions, for example, to get their first touchdown today. If you do that against a good team, chances are you're going to be behind. And when you're behind, you have to kind of go against what your game plan is. So, there's a lot going on here. The Eagles won today barely. They had one of those kind of trap games, I thought, against Carolina, which came into Philadelphia, played well. But, man, Barkley's going to be a big test. But the Steelers have the number 4 rush defense in the NFL. That will be the matchup that I'll be watching first and foremost. But they have some guys in the pass game who can hurt you, too. All right, let's keep it going. One more call before we go to break. That would be Charles in Mount Washington. Hey, Charles, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers game against the Eagles coming up. I think that if we keep Saquon bottled up, we'll be fine. And then as long as we can keep Jalen Hurts from rushing, we'll be even better.
That's a lot easier said than done, though, I will tell you that. Barkley is on pace for 2,100 rushing yards. He has over 1,600 already. But again, the Steelers take pride in stopping the run. We'll see what they do in that situation. Eagles have a very talented team. There's no question about that. They're vying for the number 1 seed with Detroit. Next week, interesting matchup. Buffalo goes to Detroit. And Buffalo lost today. If they should lose to Detroit, the Steelers would move ahead of them if they should win this weekend against Philadelphia. So a lot of interesting stuff going on in that world right now. We got to take a break. We have Jim. We have Roz. We have Mon. Make that Ron. All coming up. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on KDKA+. All right, let's check out with Erica Stanish what's coming up tonight at 11 on KDKA. Erica?
Yeah, here's what we're working on. As you've said, Pomp, it was a big win for the Steelers against the Browns today over at Acrisure. We're catching up with both Steelers and Browns fans for their reactions. Plus, new information on a deadly crash in Washington County, where we're learning about a possible second victim. And what we know about someone painting anti-Semitic graffiti around the city's Riverwalk. We're going to have all that and much more coming up in just a bit. We'll see you then.
All right, thanks, Erica. Appreciate it. Let's go to Robin Irwin, who joins us right now on KDKA+. Hey, Rob.
Hey, good evening, Bob. Hey, just 2 things real quick. First one, Pitt going to Detroit for a bowl game. What a joke. Who in their right mind would go to that game is what I would like to know. I mean, you don't have any idea who's playing, who's going to be available, and day after Christmas. I mean, I can't imagine.
Especially the Steelers play on Christmas. There's going to be a lot of football on that day, too. So.
Well, and the second thing is SMU Penn State. I look for SMU to give them a really good game. They're a really fast team,
yes,
similar to Oregon. So I have a feeling it's going to be a lot closer than what Penn State people might think.
Yeah, right now I'll tell you, I'll take the points in that one. They're getting 9.5, I think it is. All right, let's go out to Ron in Greensburg. Hello, Ron. How are you?
Hey, Bob. Thanks for taking my call. Enjoy your show very much.
Thank you very much.
Fellow Pioneer in 1983.
All right, there we go.
an old guy. But I just want to tip my hat to Dave Parker, truly deserving. And then what I'd like next is they get smart enough to get Al Oliver in there.
Yeah, I agree. Scoop, he was outstanding too. There are a lot of guys who I think should get in, but won't. Thankfully, Dave Parker will get in. I think it's July 25th and 26th coming up in Cooperstown. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us. We'll have the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown coming at you at 11:35 tonight with Cabali, Hathorn, and Mackey. In the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night back here, same time, same channel. It's 10:35 kickoff for tonight's program and every program 7 nights a week. Ireland Contracting, Nightly Sports Call. Good night. We'll see you at 11.